to Inside the Mind of Miles, the world's best, the best podcast in the history of mankind. I mean, it's just, there's not a better podcast. This is so old, we know it, but the only reason it's so good this week is because my man, John Gallagher from Hartford University is with us. Gal, how you doing, brother?
Doing great. I don't mind to stop you, but it's the University of Hartford.
The University of Hartford, that's a THE in all caps.
Exactly.
So, and folks, so let's just say you're new to John Gallagher. You're new to the University of Hartford. And you're like, who's this cat? Who's this guy? And I will tell you this. Go to a big gathering. Walk into a bar. Go to an event. Go to a family reunion. And we've all got the guy that has a mass amount of people surrounded around him, and he's holding court, kicking ass and taking names. That's John Gallagher. So you might not know him. You'll get to know him, and he is the man. Coach Gal, am I wrong? Are you the best at the Final Four? Are you just holding court? You are the best? Is that
I have a lot of you know what I'd like to say? I have friends that are like family, and I don't like you've become Porter, David, Patrick. There's a list of guys throughout the country and even the world that they're in that circle of mine. Yeah. And the circle's large and it's real, it's genuine. And as you know, it's intense. So it's a family, and it's fun. The Final Four is fun. And I've had some of the funniest nights of my life. Like, I'll just give you one great one.
Here we go.
Sunday night, my phone rings. It's after we played NJIT, and it's Mark Few. Now, Mark Few's I'm not calling Mark Few. Okay. I'm the guy at Hartford. So I answer it. He goes, "The Whalers are winning." He calls the Hartford Hawks the Whalers.
Nice.
I don't know why. So
the old hockey team.
Exactly. Yeah. But we end up spending 30 minutes catching up, and I'm supposed to go fly fishing with him every year. I never go. But the greatest line is Dave Pauley's at the Final Four, and everybody out there is a Division II coach, and it's me, Mark Few, and Dave Pauley. And Dave goes to him. Now, Mark Few's face is like, Dave's like, "You got to come fly fishing at the Schuylkill River." Now, you got to understand, there's no fish in the Schuylkill River. It's the dirtiest river. It's in Philly. And Mark goes, "What are we going to catch?" And he looks at him and says, "Dead squirrels and shopping carts."
Oh my God. That's his introduction to Dave Pauley. Mark Few.
Dave Mark spit his beer like almost out. Gary Williams is there, and Dave is just being Dave.
Yeah.
And that was like 8 years ago. And now Mark Few's been in every Final Four since.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Delco County, Philadelphia guy, said it best by a friend of ours, where there's a bar and a bookie on every corner. And
That's true.
So growing up in Delco, tell me about your family. Tell me about growing up. How'd you get into coaching?
Yeah, so I have 3 older sisters. 2 played college basketball, one at Boston College and one at LaSalle. And my dad started an AAU girls team, and I lived in a gym from 6th grade on. And I played in the Sunny Hill League. And my whole dream, my whole life was to play in the Big Five and the coach. My dad took me to a game at the Palestra, the fabled Palestra. And I walked in, and you got to understand that when you walk into that building, it's just it's a person, and it makes people want to be involved in college athletics and college basketball in particular. And I just chased the game. Played in the Philadelphia Catholic League. I was a good high school player. I was not a good college player. But
so in high school, did you ever play against Kobe Bryant?
All the time. I grew up playing pickup with him. Grew up playing. You probably know the famous story with me and him in high school.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it. My best buddy Tony Hayden, who played at Mount St. Mary's, went to 2 NCAA tournaments at Mount St. Mary's, tells the story the best. But I banged 3 threes on Kobe, and I just slap him on the ass. And I said, "You can't bleep and guard me." And I'll never forget, I came out of the timeout, and he looked at me and goes, "You're not getting shut up the rest of the game." And literally, the game went double overtime. And it's in Conshohocken, which is a famous. And Tony Hayden is like, it's like a minute left in the game where we're down 3. And he goes, "Why would you talk trash to him?" He's like yelling at me. We're 18 years old. And he still gets mad at it because we would have won the championship. And guys that were there, John Linehan, Donnie Carr, they tell it too. They talk about the story too. But I didn't get a shot off, and I learned my lesson well about Kobe.
That is classic. Well, first of all, who does that? Why? I mean, who does that? But that's
you know what? My old self, if you could, like, you ever somebody said, "What would you tell your old self?" Just shut up and play. Okay. What are you doing?
Oh,
like,
so,
and the funny thing is if you like, I had a college teammate that should have been an NBA first round pick, and name was Arthur Ya Davis. Ya probably had 41 on Kobe. Ya was an elite scorer. He took us to the Sweet 16. I mean, he was the real deal. But Ya could say that Ya could talk trash to Kobe. Not me.
not Gal.
No. I mean, lesson learned.
5'11",
2 steps slow. I thought I was faster than that. As you get older, you realize, dude, I was not a half a step. I was 2 steps slow.
Well, what was good is that he'd blow by you so bad he'd come back to you sometimes on a moving counter. You'd still
exactly.
Be in the same spot.
That's when I took the charge.
Yeah, I love it. So you go to in college. I mean, who's your college coach?
Phil Martelli, played for Phil.
Yep.
At St. Joe's, and would play against Kobe at night. So Kobe came back his rookie year, didn't play a lot his rookie year, and he would live in. Literally, I saw firsthand what he did. He would be in the gym with us. We get done having camp. We play pickup from 10 at night to 12:30. He'd stay from 12:30, I think, to 2:33. He'd be back in the gym at 6:30. He didn't sleep. He took a 3-hour nap. He was in the gym shooting every day. And I saw his work ethic live and in person. He passed away. Me and Coach Martelli had a conversation about it. No one worked like Kobe Bryant. I mean, just no one.
Yeah.
And I saw it after his rookie year. I mean, it was just impressive.
That's awesome. So did Coach Martelli, did your dad, who motivated you to get into coaching? And how did that start? And what was your first move?
One person was Bud Gardler, my high school coach. So Bud coached Gino Auriemma. He coached Stevie Donahue. Phil Martelli was his JV coach. And when you grow up in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Catholic League is like major college basketball.
Sure.
Your whole dream in 6th grade is just to play at the high school.
Yeah.
The games are packed. You just want to play at O'Hara, and that's the way I grew up. I grew up just trying to play in high school. And then I started for 3 years there. And I thought that was the end all be all. And then I walked on at St. Joe's, and I became, Bud was the guy that said, "Look, you just go and be with Phil." And the thing about Phil, or Coach Martelli, the thing about Coach was, of all the X's and O's, the thing that stands out is his unconditional love for his players. And he just, and you see what I think he's really, really helping Michigan out right now. Like they're really playing well, but I could see Phil, just his
fingerprints on that thing.
The spirit.
Yeah.
I could see the spirit. And, the way he coached us and the way he was, I'll never forget it. And then I had the opportunity at 22 to go work at LaSalle for Speedy Morris. And Speedy was an all-time classic. And, he was 89-90. He had a team that was one of the best teams in America with Lionel Simmons. but he was the neighborhood. He had that neighborhood. Everybody felt Speedy Morris, and he was so genuine. And Speedy had such a fire about him, about Philadelphia and the Big Five. And then after Speedy was Billy Hahn, and
Oh,
I learned how to recruit with Billy, and Billy was and also a great. He learned the Gary Williams system, the flex offense, the duck in. It's not something I do today, but I respect it.
yeah.
But Billy was the recruiting. And then the guy that changed my whole life was Fran O'Hanlon. He kept me in coaching. I think all coaches, when you're an assistant, you kind of like, you're there and you're like, is this going anywhere? Am
I getting better?
Is this getting, is this something? Should I be, and Fran just opened my eyes up to what this experience, the game itself, the spiritual side of basketball. And if you're not getting better, you shouldn't be in it. And every day is about getting 1% better.
Sure.
And his line, and I'm sure I've said it to you before, is if you're not willing to lie down with pain, if you're not willing to lie down like it's a bed, sleep with pain, don't get into college coaching, because this experience is about getting through pain. On the other side of pain, there's some great feelings. There's some great times, but pain is unavoidable. Go do something else. That's what he would say to us. And then the other line I love that he used to say is, you can never punish a champion. You can never punish a champion. And, if you say we're going to do suicides, a champion gets up and says, I'm going to get better. If you say we're going to do 15 minutes more shell defense, the champion says, I'm going to get better. And that was Rainbow John, his nickname in Philly. Rainbow, everything was about getting better. Everything. And he used to carry this notebook around, this journal, and random thoughts. But if you try to open the notebook, he'd like grab it. Dude, I'm not touching this. It was like his Bible. Yeah. And so he gave a great line. If you want to open it so bad, write your own. Take your own notes. So I carry a notebook everywhere with me, and I take my own notes.
Love that. Yeah, I love that. That is awesome. Let me tell you a little bit about our partners over at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with Bet Rivers yet, now's the time. Bet Rivers Sportsbook is offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. What sets them apart is they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. When you win at Bet Rivers Sportsbook, they pay fast. And now it's even faster with Rush Pay, instant approval for withdrawals. It's safe, secure, and reliable. With March Madness right around the corner, there's never been a better time to give Bet Rivers Sportsbook a try. Go to betrivers.com or download the app. You must be 21 years or older. If there's a problem, dial 1-800-GAMBLING. So your journey, you've got so many good influence. Dan Leibowitz, of course, was the head coach at Hartford.
He then brought me. Yeah, so Danny brought me up, and I learned the zones, the Temple zones. But I also, I literally.
Dan was with John Chaney for how many years at Temple?
11 years is his top. Yeah. So Dan brought. I still talk about it today. Establish the floor. Well, what does establish the floor mean? If you can establish the areas you want to play from, which is you want to control the paint. If you do it early, you can do it late. We talk about it. Don't turn the ball over. Okay. And, the other thing is education. Educating minority. That was John Chaney, and now it's Black History Month. And what John Chaney embodied what it is to serve the underprivileged. You have, and Dan was a beacon of light for me in that area, and just taught me so much about Coach Chaney and his basketball on the floor and off the floor. And, Coach Chaney did so much for Philadelphia basketball, but basketball in general.
Yeah, he was a powerful personality, but a powerful influencer too. And if you've ever met him, you'd know that. And I certainly didn't work with him like you guys did, but I did meet him because we were just going Division 1, and he'd be at the Division 1 head coaches meetings. And there was a time when John was going to take over the entire meeting with 350 Division 1 coaches in one room, and you just knew at some point Coach Chaney was going to make it hurt. And in retrospect, like when we look at what our world is now, like he should be talking, like he was telling us today is going to happen. All this crazy bullshit is going to happen. Like if we don't get this under control, whether it be the FBI investigations or whether it be name, image, likeness, whether it be the welfare of the kids, whatever it be, whether it be the crazy recruiting calendar that coaches keep. He was railing on these things, and 1,000 other things. I'm just saying my personal experience and recollections, but what a powerful man that way, in a great way, in a positive way.
He was so ahead of his time. It's just, I mean, it's just amazing. Everything he predicted all of this, where we would be today.
Yeah.
And you know, and I always was fascinated with his relationships with, you know, the Temple football coaches. And 2 of them are in the NFL now. One just won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
The guy at Tampa.
Yeah.
He tweeted out about Coach Chaney and the effect he had on him.
Yep.
So
Experience.
I just think the guy, I'll give you one story. Okay. So I'm playing at St. Joe's. And at the time when St. Joe's, the Sixers practiced there, right? So they had a Big 5 coaches versus cancer meeting upstairs at St. Joe's, and Larry Brown's coaching, Allen Iverson, Aaron McKee, and they're all going. So I literally, I would miss my marketing. Don't tell my marketing t-shirt. I would miss my marketing class to watch Larry Brown. John Kuster was assistant, and I would just take notes of Larry Brown every day. It was the greatest grad program I was ever.
Yeah,
I mean, I was unbelievable. But they just lost. I'll never forget it. They lost in Atlanta the night before, and they came back and they were practicing. And John Chaney comes into practice. Okay, he stops the Sixers practice. Okay, he's like, whoa, 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 and Larry's like looking over. He's like, what's going on? He's like, I need to talk. And he's like, Aaron McKee. He starts yelling at Aaron McKee. I'm like standing there. Fran Dunphy's next to me. And I'm like, Coach, what's going on here? He's like, this is John being John. And he goes, and Larry just let him go. He ends up like going after. I'll never forget, after Aaron. He went after Allen Iverson. He said, you beat a guy 2 straight times, and you want to beat him a third. You got to go score. And he went after Matt Geiger. And he went after, I'll never forget it. Like, it was clear as day. And I just thought, man, any gym he walks into, it's his gym.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the kind of guy he was. You know, it was funny. You said, he was ahead of his time. He saw today for what it is. So I want to take today for what it is, but I want to move you back 365 days.
Whew.
2020, end of last season. Who were you playing at the end of February? Where were you right before? Just think of this. Where were you right before the American East Conference tournament?
We played a home game. You remember this because I texted you guys. I got my car stolen.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't why I brought that up, by the way.
We lost to Maine. I came outside. My car was stolen. We played at Maine. That was the last regular season game. It was for the 2 seed, and we lose the game. And I'll never forget. So
Gal's only had his car stolen twice in the last year, by the way.
Twice. And we can get the both.
We'll get to that. That's that might be a Final Four story that we don't want on the podcast, only because we have more important things to do. So you lose to Maine, you're standing there in front of your team, and it's just the worst feeling ever. So what has it been like now today when you stand in front of your team you're going to be the 3 or 4 seed in the American East? Year?
No. But then I'm saying, then okay. we go win 2 games, and we beat Stony Brook.
But this is what I'm getting to. So
Okay.
tell me what it's like for it to end. So this is what I'm getting to. So we're here today. We got masks, we got COVID, we got all these protocols. You're ready to play for the American East Championship. When's the last time Hartford was in the NCAA tournament?
When I was an assistant with Danny.
Okay. So you
It's a
and Danny.
championship.
Exactly. So it's been how many years?
13.
13. So you're in a situation now that you're ready to play for the conference championship. I mean, you're
Yep.
the night before?
It is. We're getting on the bus to drive to Vermont.
And what happens?
So the bus is outside, and here's what happens. We decided to leave at 12:30. We're going to watch film from 12 to 12:30. Get on the bus and head up. 11:55, the phone rings. It's my interim athletic director, Maria Feely, who's the best. She says, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm going down to see the team." She says, "You needed to come into my office." I go to the office. She says, "Season's over." And I said, "Can you just let us play the game?" She said, "John, the season's over. The world's stopping." And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "There's going to be I'm just telling you, there's going to be no NCAA tournament." So it ended up being, I had to go walk downstairs. I walk in the locker room and a kid's reading a tweet that says the American East,
Canceled.
So he starts saying, I said, shut that off. So like, these guys are excited. I said, listen, now you got kids crying. I mean, we had Malik Ellison, who transferred from Pitt, who was at St. John's, who gave his heart and soul to this. And he gave his, and like, it just ends. And you have to get up there and just say, like, there's no leadership book in Barnes.
No, there's no textbook on this one.
So you just got to say, like we were picked 8th. We were picked KenPom because we lost our top 6 guys. We were picked 352, and we were going to the NCAA tournament. So we've revitalized the roster, and it's one of those things, Timmy, where you still have pain over it. It's still like today. I'll be frank with you. I have a real phobia right now for our season to end not on a loss, but on a COVID breakout, whatever. Like, it scares me. So I want to lose a game. I want to lose on a tick. It doesn't matter. Like, I'll go in the locker room and I'll hug. We gave it all we had.
Yep.
I can't have someone hand me a piece of paper that says, COVID positive, and then you're standing there and you got to go tell your team that you got to go quarantine for 14 days. That scares me. That actually is, and guess what? We have a lot of teams out there that are competing. There's going to be really good teams that don't make the NCAA tournament because of this.
Oh, that's just awful. You're right. So what has it been like during this COVID environment for you? Like, what's been your biggest challenges, biggest rewards, things like that?
Biggest challenges, I think, for me are just the protocol, the procedure. You have to do them, but the procedures and protocols every day are wearing. I just want to coach, and the layers and layers of administrative stuff you have to do just to get to a game is immense. I mean, it is immense. It's, making sure that, anything when you take a bus trip, all the masks and the sanitizer and it's constant. I mean, and 2 years ago or a year ago, nobody was, it's changed dramatically. And I think it's rewarding just to play a game. It's rewarding just to have a practice. And I just think it's, I'll never take it for granted, but this was just like when we played UConn to open the year up, I'll never forget. I was like, I can't believe we're getting a game in.
Yeah,
We're
you
getting
text us like, hey, should we take the UConn game on Monday? Yeah, everybody's like,
exactly.
all
And
the non-working coaches are like, yeah, do it, Gal.
Everyone, how about this? You, Steve Donahue, and Mike Martin are
Martin.
yes, take the game. 2 hours later, I get a call. Do you want to play Villanova? Should I play Villanova? You, Mike Martin. Yes. I started 0-2.
That's on us. But you know what? It's better than not playing. So as you look at this, here comes the American East tournament's one of the earlier tournaments.
It is.
And
starts Saturday.
Yeah. And you guys have had some stops and starts and turns, as a league, like everybody. Give us a preview. This is the best college podcast in the history of mankind. So, Gal, we got to have a preview on what's going on.
Yeah. So, this is just, I'm giving it to you because we're playing them. But one of the more intriguing teams out there is the Binghamton Bearcats. They just swept NJIT. They won the games. They were up 25 on Saturday, 17 today. We play them. They're the 9 seed. They've had injuries. They've had COVID stuff. They're not the 9 seed. They're like the 3-4 seed. Okay. They have all freshmen. Tommy Dempsey's done an unbelievable job. They'll win the championship in the next 3 years with the core guys they have. Okay. That's how, we're going. And I'm watching tape tonight. I'm thinking to myself, this is a semifinal game in a first round game. So, wow. And they're that good, and they're really fun to watch. I mean, they shoot threes the way I like teams. We don't shoot as many as we used to. They're banging when they beat UMBC at UMBC, who's the 1 seed in our league. They should have swept UMBC. They could have swept UMBC. They banged 14 threes in that game. So we're dealing with it. We have our hands full. And then in the other games, so the 1 and 2 get double buys, which is Vermont and UMBC. John Becker and Ryan Odom both do an unbelievable job. Ryan's done a great job at UMBC. John Becker's done a phenomenal job at Vermont. They're 2 of the better coaches in our league. And then you got Billy Hurrian, who's the 3 seed. He's a great coach at New Hampshire. He's been coaching 65 years. No, I'm joking. But I joke with him. I said, Bill, I was a high school sophomore when Billy was coaching at Drexel. I mean, he's been around forever.
He wears it well, though. He wears it well.
He does. He works out more now on his Peloton bike than that. I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, we all get along really well. And then you got UMass Lowell and Stony Brook in the 6-7 game. Here's the thing. In all these games, in these first, if you get through the pods, you have to go to Vermont, go to UMBC. This is the year. Whoever comes out, because you have 7 days off, you have 6 days to prepare. It's going to be those 1-2 matchups are not chalks.
No,
I don't know who's going to get through, because look, the 8 seeds NJIT, they beat UMBC and they beat Vermont, the 1-2. Okay. We didn't get a chance to play Vermont. They weren't on the schedule. It didn't fit.
Sure.
They had COVID. We played UMBC. We split with them. Could have swept them on a. It is going to be one of the. I mean this. If you want to jump into something fun, jump in. If you're a college basketball fan, jump into the America East tournament this weekend. Jump in, watch the games. There's one at 1 o'clock. There's one at 2 o'clock, and there's one at 5 o'clock on Saturday. And then you'll get the chance to watch those Sunday games. I mean, it's really. It's really, really well coached league. If you're not making adjustments in this league, you're going to get beat.
I love that, John. Well, John, listen, you and I could go 1,000 different directions, 1,000 different ways. But I want to wrap it up here. I want to wish you the best of luck. You're one of my favorite people in the history of friendship and college basketball. You guys are going to do great. He won't say it, but John is easily one of the best coaches in the American East Conference. He just named every other coach in the league. But I'm going to make sure that John Gallagher is out there too. Coach, good luck to the Whalers. I know that you guys are going to do great, and it's going to be a lot of fun for college basketball to watch. And we all, of course, everybody remembers UMBC doing the 16-1 deal. And you don't do that by accident. The American East Conference is a rising star because of guys like you. By the way,
I told Few if we end up playing him in the NCAA tournament, he's got to let us win that game. Just so you know.
Well, of course. Yeah, I mean, if he's any kind of man. And then you'll take him fishing in the Philadelphia River over there.
Dude, the Schuylkill River. That's the deal.
That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks, Coach Gallagher. Go Hartford Hawks. Welcome back to Inside the Mind of Miles, ladies and gentlemen, for our close this week with Gregory Eaton. Coach E, what are we wearing today? What is this mishmash of faded red hat and Port Orleans Disney t-shirt? Where's that?
It's our favorite resort for our family down at Disney World. So it's in prep for our trip next week. We're heading down to Disney.
You are a dog. So you're going to leave me on my own, aren't you?
Yeah.
We're going to have to either tape early or I'm just old Timmy all alone here, huh?
Yep. Solo it.
Jeez. I mean, how much am I paying you? Oh, I'm not. How much am I getting paid? Oh, I'm not. So don't worry about it. What's your hat say, man?
It's actually a grumpy Disney hat.
Grumpy. Can you put that close to the camera so we can see that? Look at that grumpopotamus.
I mean, it's like he's mining or something like that.
Yeah, he's holding a pickaxe. Yeah, he's angry.
It looks like a minor league cap. It looks like one of those, different logos that you're not sure what it is.
Looks like he's storming the Capitol. What are you talking about? Okay, Coacher.
Like Disney fans, I mean, I saw a tweet last night about, I don't know who it was. It was somebody named Ava Grace, I think, and said about
Thanos is an asshole.
Oh, okay.
Thanos, whatever his name is. So yeah, she got me. So we went to start to watch WandaVision on HBO Plus, and she decides, well, before we watch WandaVision, watch one episode. I'm like, I get it, or I like it, but I don't get it. She goes, oh. So then she writes down in order how the Marvel movie should be watched. And now we're on whatever, Avengers Endgame, which seems like it's about 14 of 21. So I'm starting to get, the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm starting to a great soundtrack. First of all, on both the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I knew that beforehand. I had seen like some of the movies here and there, you know what I mean? But, when they start killing off the good guys, I start to get a little salty.
Yeah. Well, that was a good text that she shared with us all.
Yeah, I saw that. So, folks, if you follow us on Twitter, you'll see that it did happen on, I think it was Saturday night. At the end of the movie, I just stomped upstairs. And then I felt bad a little bit for stomping away and not saying anything, because usually we talk about the movie a little bit afterwards. So I text her that. Thanos, whatever his name is. I don't like him. So, okay, Coach, John Gallagher, you think he can recruit anybody?
Oh, yeah. You talk about a great personality. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he can tell a story, man. And you and I have been there at the Final Four when he's told some stories, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know that the first time that I ever met him, he told the story, and you were there, so you can say it. But, he was the only guy in a group of coaches that told Bill Self that he had a toupee on.
That it looks like he's wearing.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah. So, hey, yep, Coach, that story happened, and I loved it. It was hilarious, and John Gallagher would definitely be that guy to step up to anybody and say anything. He really last year was really hard because they were making a huge run at the end of the year. And they certainly had some, you still have to go to Vermont and win, but so it's not like you just are waiting on the NCAA tournament bid, but boy, they were in great position to make something happen. They had a lot of momentum. And then to have that stripped away, that's just so hard. Just so hard. You know,
What he was talking about, like, there's nothing in the handbook to teach you like how to talk to your guys. I mean, there's so many instances, and I mean what you've taught me through the years, like you have to be able to go on the fly,
yeah,
and do the best that you can. And your student athletes, they want you to be real. They don't want you
they don't want the phony stuff.
right.
And they're at a tough age, I mean, where they don't want the phony for sure, because they're trying to figure it all out themselves. And that's a hard meeting to have. And it's hard to find out on Twitter, I mean, but that's the news. When I go for breaking news, that's where I go. So I know that much. So he has something that we didn't get to on the podcast. I just wanted our listeners to know something really funny. So anytime he runs like a handoff action, so they throw it to the high post or a post, and he's not dribbling, and they got guys cutting off him, and he wants the guy to fake it and keep it. He calls out one of his daughter's names because his daughters are keepers. I thought that was pretty cool. And so Kenna, or Mary Kate, or whatever it might be. And I thought that was pretty cool. So, he's got a little pizzazz to him. He's a lot of fun to have on. And I can't believe conference tournaments are right here already.
And they're starting up, and so is the Horizon. I mean, and then a bunch next week.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of the pre-week for it. And in the American East is the one, and it should be fun. I think you can stream those on ESPN. But it's amazing. We're already here, and within another weekend, I mean, so probably by the time this thing pops, we're looking at 10 days, everybody's going to be playing for their, championships. I mean, it's going to be, it's on us. March Madness is on us. And I don't know about the rest of the country, but I'm guessing that everybody got hit by just horrific weather pretty much. And I'm going to be able to talk to later this week, and probably next week, I think we'll release it, or sometime Buzz Williams, Texas A&M, is going to talk to us about their troubles down at College Station, Houston area, just the entire state of Texas, what that was like to go through. But what my whole point was, it really haven't seen the sunshine in about 3 weeks. It's been below freezing for 3 straight weeks in Nebraska, which it hasn't been like that our other 8 or 9 years we've been here. So it's hard to believe March Madness is on us.
It's when the temperature tomorrow is supposed to be 50, you'd think that it would be warmer than 50 degrees if I told you in 8 days it would be a 90-degree swing change.
Oh, yeah, you'd think. February 22nd, I played golf a year ago.
Wow.
They sent me a picture. It was still the same crummy golf swing, but I was at least playing golf,
Some things never change.
Yeah, exactly. So how about, we had a little bit of conference tournament news this week or last week. The Atlantic 10 canceled the last 2 regular season games of the year and moved their tournament up because they had an 8-day gap between the semifinals and the finals. And so now they've gobbled that space up. And I think it's not 8, it's a 1 or 2. What do you think of that? You think that's a good plan out of the A10 or not?
Yeah, I mean, if we're trying to, eliminate travel and trying to get the teams, back to home quicker, I think it's definitely the right move. But, it does make it kind of those teams at the top. I mean, they have so many teams fighting for berths. Now it makes every game matter even more.
Yeah.
Less room for error.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to me. And, I think if we looked at the bubble, like, if there's a team out there that's 11-4, how is that different than 15-6, and or whatever it might be? It's going to be interesting to see how those things plug in. I would want games. I would want wins. Everybody's kind of looking around right now, scratching their head. There's makeup games to be played or not played everywhere. Mm-hmm. And how each conference decides to handle that is going to be pretty fascinating. Because you have to look out for the, best of the league, so to speak, but also the welfare of the student athletes. Let's face it.
I'm going to be interested to see, because some of these conferences that always finish early, if they try to pick up a game late, I mean, the A10's a lot like the Mountain West, and we've had a lot of Mountain West coaches on here. I mean, they're usually a 3-bid league. I mean, they have Richmond, you've got VCU, who's a great team, St. Louis. I mean,
I would be lined up calling Auburn and Arizona saying, meet me in Vegas, let's play. I mean, whether it be a playground, a parking lot, or whatever, spot you can get into. Because I think both those teams have opted out, so to speak, this season. And they both have pretty good numbers. I don't know what Auburn's are, but I know Arizona's are. So that's what I'd be doing. I'd be saying, if we got done early, I'm like, let's go Arizona. We'll come down. What the heck? I mean,
fly down there.
You need quad 1 games, and where you find them, and especially at the mid-major level, where you find them has always been really difficult. When we were in the Big Ten, of course, they were more prevalent. You could get them certainly on the road and a few at home, but you don't get many quad 1 wins. And then you can have quad 1 wins disappear. We beat Minnesota one year. It was a quad 1 win. It ended up at the end of the year, quad 3 or even 4. And the team we played was a quad 1 team. The team they were at the end of the year was a quad 4 team, but that's not who we beat. But do you get credit for that? No. And that's the hard part with the quad system. It's just a hard part, for a selection committee. And but that's the way it goes. That's why it makes this time of year fascinating. But it keeps Rolaids in business for the coaches and all that fun stuff. But Coach, how are we doing on our You Pick'ems, man? Talk to me.
I had a couple of fun ones. A lot of top.
Did you want to retract what happened last week when you said that?
Yeah, you know what? Because I did have a game incorrect, so so
we tied.
I forfeit. So you won because of that forfeit.
Yep, I won. I heard you.
Games on the sheet, then I would have taken the lead.
I heard you. You said you won, and I agree.
You won. So this is also why I think the athletes kind of got tired of playing the You Pick'em, is because the coach always won every year.
Technicalities. Hey, let's make this game worth 10 points. Put a little asterisk in 2-point font right there.
Yeah. No, I had got 7 games picked out for this week.
Ooh.
And they all have top 25 teams in them. So
wow.
I'll run through them for you, and then we can see, week 2 of You Pick'em. You took the first week. We'll have 3.
Okay, so you pick first this week.
Okay, so we got Texas Tech at Oklahoma State. I'm going to take Oklahoma State.
Texas Tech has got to make it happen, so I'm just going to pick against you.
Okay.
Because there's another team that's ineligible at this point, right? Oklahoma State's ineligible for postseason this year. I'd be playing them.
Yeah, that's another team. Just go out to Vegas and play a little round robin. Give them the postseason.
What the heck?
Oregon versus USC.
Oregon and USC. Where's that at?
That's at USC. I'm going to take Oregon because I think the game's more important to them.
I'm taking Southern Cal.
Okay.
The Mobley brothers.
Rematch of a game earlier this year. Texas hosting Kansas.
Texas is a little salty after that West Virginia debacle. Texas.
Yeah, that's what I got too. I'm going to take Texas too. Alabama, Arkansas. Arkansas is now ranked.
And that's at Arkansas?
At Arkansas.
So we know if Bud Walton was full, this would be a different deal.
Bud Walton.
I think Arkansas already hit their peak. I think Alabama already hit their peak. I'm taking Arkansas.
I'm taking Alabama. Okay. Now we finally get to see Baylor, West Virginia at Baylor.
Baylor.
Baylor? Okay. I'm going to take Baylor too. I don't like how West Virginia's been playing. The last 2, Iowa at Michigan.
Oh boy, Michigan looks good. But they got to attack zone. I'm taking Michigan. That's a hard place to win. Chrysler Arena.
I'm going to take Iowa.
Ooh.
And then Boise.
Out on a limb. Boise
at San Diego State.
Oh,
Title probably.
that's huge. Once again, if it was played with the show there,
Yeah.
At Viejas Arena, I'm going to take San Diego State. They've won 8 in a row, I think.
I'll take Boise. We'll mix it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay,
Boise just got swept on the road at Nevada, so I guess their road record's been so great lately. You'll just
but then
you
they
didn't even consider that.
They took Utah State from number 2 and dropped them to 4
Yeah, at home.
at home.
They're like the Fighting Richard Patinos. They're great at home.
They are great at home up until the other day.
Yeah. Whoa. Illinois. So right now I've got 3 teams in the Big Ten in the Final Four, the way they've been playing the last week. Ohio State, Michigan, and Illinois. Holy cow. All 3 of those teams look good.
That game yesterday was awesome. Ohio State.
Yeah,
Michigan.
and then you've already picked Iowa beating Michigan. So that tells us how you think. That's 4. I mean, that's pretty high. This is the greatest podcast in the history of mankind. Not only because of Manscaped, Bet River, all our sponsors. Hey, we're wrapping this thing up. Stick with us. If you got some old episodes, go, scrub around, listen to some. It's been a lot of fun with Coach E and I. We're looking forward to next week taping before he goes to Disney World Land-ish. And I just can't wait to have you back, folks. It's going to be a lot of fun. Coach E, until next week.
See you next week.
See you, folks.